All right, it is 1 o'clock Central, so we will get started. Welcome everyone, and thank you for tuning in to today's webinar, using virtual reality welding simulators for online and in-person teaching, tips and tricks for student engagement. My name is Emily Winnestorfer. I am on the marketing team here at Realityworks. I will be behind the scenes assisting our lead presenter today, Jamey McIntosh. Jamey is one of our product managers here at Realityworks, and he's been with us for a little over 9 years. He came to us with an extensive education background as a former educator teaching in Wisconsin and in Colorado. His topics cover student engagement, technology in the classroom, gaming, filling the skills gap, business education, and various agriculture and welding topics. He is a fantastic resource for today's webinar. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to Jamey to get us going.
Hey, thanks a lot, Emily. Really appreciate you taking the time today, everyone, to be with us and discuss bringing virtual reality into your COVID classroom. Wow, what a time and place that we are at right now. And so just want to say thank you for taking the time. Thank you for coming and talking with us. Really appreciate you being here with us and spending your time with us, because it is a very unique situation, time and place that we are in. So we thank you for taking this time with us today. I want to jump right into some welcome introductions. So today, just kind of to start, our focus today is really to talk about gaining welding knowledge and skill, and learn about research showing how welding simulation helps students become more proficient. We'll then get into using simulation for different learning methodologies, a real look, in-depth look at how you can use it face-to-face, remote learning, and also for demos. Then we'll finish up talking about how we can help create quality welding technique from assessment. And we also have a welding instructor who is using it right now and how they are actually using it. So want to get going and talk through a little bit of these things. So just to kind of introduce us ourselves, you may know us, you may not, but we are Realityworks. We're an education company that focuses on career and technical education. We focus on being a partner with career and technical education, with American Welding Society, with the National Association for Ag Educators, and we go to a lot of different both trade shows as well as get in the classroom when it's possible to be able to talk to you to find out how we can help and what we can do to create great interactive learning aids and curriculum in the classroom. That's really our focus and what we're about. Now today what we're going to talk about is, as you can see, there's a lot of different areas that we have different skills and training that we bring forward. We're going to focus on the welding and the trade skill side today, really focusing in two areas that this fits in, both in agriculture and also into that skilled and technical sciences there. So what I'm talking about today and our focus today is really talking about our product guideWELD. This is a virtual welding simulator. Now, the whole purpose of this, again, and what we're going to talk about is how you can use it in your classroom and how it can help you in this world of of remote learning, face-to-face, hybrid or blended learning that we are a part of today. So guideWELD is one of the welding simulators on the market today. There are others. And part of guideWELD is that it is something where it is very user-friendly, very portable. It focuses on MIG and stick welding, and it has the ability for student assessment and also student guidance, getting students to understand proper welding technique as they do their welds. So one of the big pieces here that can really be helpful and something that we really focus on is the methodology of giving that immediate feedback, that training in the welding technique. So students are making sure that that variable of welding is taken care of, that they have solid technique every single time that they weld. That consistency, that repetitive motion over and over, making sure that they're doing it correctly every single time. So let's get started looking at how virtual welding simulation can help students gain knowledge and skill development. Now, first off, one of the things that we brought to the forefront here is what we call the 21st century welding classroom. The whole purpose here is really the methodology of how do we help best educate students in the world of welding. Now, as you can see from the picture here, we have multiple different products that we bring to both the welding simulation with our guideWELD, but we also have tracking simulation of live welding in the booth with welding guidance with our guideWELD Live. We also have visual weld inspection with a weld defect kit. And we also have a bend tester for that destructive welding test. So there's a lot of different focuses on a lot of different products that we bring into the welding world, again, trying to make it a quality learning environment for your students. But in this case, we're in a different world than what we have been in the past. So in this situation here, we need to then look at it a little different. As COVID is here, how can we then look and use this product? Maybe not as you would look in this picture, as you may not be in the classroom all the time. Maybe some are, but a lot of times it's a hybrid model right now. So what can we do in this world? Well, focusing on the importance of virtual reality integration, one of the things that I want to talk about first is the importance of that skill development. Iowa State did a study, a research study, focusing on does virtual reality help increase student knowledge and skill. And what they found after doing this study is that yes, it does. It increases welding technique, increases the ability of students to create quality welds. It can reduce the amount of time needed to do those quality welds, and also can reduce the cost of the materials for those welds. Now, the study went, and what it did was it had two different groups. It had the blue group here, which is the traditional training, the TT group here. And the traditional training, that was all about going into the classroom, doing welding, and then going out into the shop, and then going from the knowledge in the classroom to actually the live doing of welding in the shop. The VRI, the virtual reality integration, or the red line, as you can see, that was a little different. It started with the traditional training, but then they added virtual welding integration. They included virtual welding into that educational piece, and then they went to the shop and they did the real thing. As you can see from this graph here, is that by including virtual reality into your program, into what you're doing, students learn better. Doing different types of welds, in this case, a V-groove, they were actually able to increase the qualified participants by 65% and do it in less time. So we're seeing, and we can see that not only is it something that welders can gain knowledge, gain understanding, gain skill because of virtual reality, we also find that it can cost less. Another focus here is that it is less costing because that upfront user is not using it to and wasting materials, consumables, and welding metal. So one of the things that is very important that we have seen is this idea of arc time. As we talk to educators, as we talk to people, and this is a place in COVID right now, as we talk, arc time is something that is being lost. Students aren't able to get in, or are not able to get into the shop as much. So how do we still get arc time in there? Now, we just took, and on average, a lot of our classrooms will have 5, 10, 15 units into their classroom. So a lot of students can use this. Using 8 as our number, you can see students who are on an average of 60-minute class periods and able to have about an average of 20 students per class. By doing this, they are able to get about 22.5 hours over a semester of time in this virtual or simulated arc world, giving them so much more time to be able to actually do welding. So why is this important? Because the ease of use, the increased arc time, and then the cost effectiveness of it is very important. Now, that's all good and well, but what is it to do and how can you use it in the classroom? So I want to start and talk a little bit with that. So one of the things that you can see me doing right now and today is I'm actually in the office here, and I'm sitting in front of it. So this is that remote or demo opportunity that might be available for you. You're in front of a camera, you have virtual welding with you, you can actually show it and show it off. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do just that. I'm going to actually bring up my virtual world here, And you can see now in this virtual world where I am having my unit right next to me. And then up on the screen where you can see it, I actually have the stick gun ready to go. So I can actually go in here and talk to students about striking the arc, that match-like feel of actually striking the arc, moving along on my puddle here. Now, in the virtual world here, I can move around by clicking on my mouse and dragging through and getting closer to where I'm at. I'm actually able to then go in here and show students the building of the puddle. And as I'm building, I have to keep my hands moving forward because as you can see in the video, visual there, I'm burning up my rod as I go. All right. Now, you can see the plus sign never changed. That's because I'm going a little too slow in this situation here. Now, but it also then shows what my weld looks like. I can talk to the students and ask, what do you think about the weld? How do you feel? Let's actually go ahead and get that slag off of it and really look at what the issue could be here and talk through some of the good points and the bad points. This then helps you as an instructor to work through and do some of that demo. Also some of that remote learning, having students be able to see the demonstration and then also use the visuals here to talk through, okay, where's my best consistency? All right, well, in this case here, and you can see I have my weld here going across, but it's a little, maybe a little concave there, all right? Then over here, all right, really missing the weld there. And so there's some areas that I need to do better when I'm doing my welding. Now, I can also show this, and this is a fun part for your students because they sometimes can see the teacher actually doing the weld and then getting graded. A great piece of this, and we'll talk about this later, is the assessment part. Being able to actually assess and see what's happening, what the student is doing. So in this case, I can look at my work angle, travel angle, arc length, my speed, and it shows where I'm at, and then my straightness. This is something that I can print off and I can save. A student can do the same thing, allowing them to be able to really understand and you to understand how well they're doing, what they're doing in that world. So let's jump back in to the different methodologies or methods from face-to-face to remote, and then also doing demos. Let's start with today's learner. All right, today's learner that you're teaching right now in COVID is looking for engagement. The Gen Z student is looking for that engagement, and right now that's difficult with COVID hitting right now. The desire to understand what they're learning and then also be able to try it is somewhat disconnected. So we need to still try to find ways to be able to do that. And we'll talk about that a little bit. They're also very tech savvy. COVID has impacted students, but they still can get onto their iPads, onto their computers, do Zoom, do Teams. They can get there and they can still interact with you. So we need to make sure that we're finding ways and working with them to be able to interact. A few other things that they're motivated by is things like security and competition and independence. So if you do have them in class doing a face-to-face, that's where you want to have some competition. That's where grading and scoring and having assessment is very important, because seeing those scores of an 80%, 85%, 82% helps them in that competition. See, how am I doing and what can I do better? By doing that, then it helps them be able to understand that competition and also look at how do I get better. It's not about the competition, it's about skill development, using competition to be able to do that. Now, one of the things that research has shown is that students have felt disengaged from learning. COVID has just increased that in certain ways. So we need to try to help them and find ways to bring that learning back to them and engage through different types of technology that can help them. So in this case, it shows a lot of different statistics about not feeling challenged, not interacting with you. And so that's where things like demonstrations help that student interact, help them to see you do it, make fun of yourself, enjoy the experience, showing them a weld in the virtual world, allowing them to see, oh, wow, you did good or you did bad. Have them diagnose what the problem might be. All right. Some of the things, the big glaring one is 81% material wasn't interesting. We're going to talk to an instructor who talks about the importance of using technology, and the purpose of it is because it helps bring that interest level into your students. Using technology helps bring that. Now, one of the new and interesting things here is that what is being called is we are teaching quarantines. That's what one of the new terms that they're calling is this idea of quarantines. Now, some of the features of a quarantine is technology focus, that remote at-home learning, that longing to be connected and being part of society. One of the things that we're seeing is that the interaction is key. They are experiencing the need for hands-on learning, and how can we get to them? And then open to skill development. They want to be able to understand and work with their hands with different skills, being skilled up because of this, seeing how COVID has made it where some people are considered needed workers and some are not. Okay, how do I make sure I have skills? Welding is one of those that kept on going. We kept on building things of that nature. So that is one of those places that students can be helped. All right, now let's get into how do we help in the different areas. We talked about face-to-face, we're going to talk about remote, and we're going to talk about demos. So first thing with face-to-face, all right, the ability to meet the standards. Work with students to complete a weld with certain percentage. All of the welding that you do in the virtual world with guideWELD gives you a percentage on every single weld. Have students have to meet certain levels or standards, 80%, 85% before they can move on to another weld, a new weld. Another focus in that face-to-face world is situational training. Have repeated similar welds to replicate production welding. Make them do the same weld all class long. Get them to understand that production where, hey, you might be doing the same one today, it might switch tomorrow, but you need to be able to be proficient over and over and hit it and be consistent every single time. Maybe you change it up and you do custom welds or varying the welds in a class period, make them jump around and do different welds. Why? Because in custom shops, they may be doing a lot of different things. That might be a piece of their job if they are in construction, manufacturing, other areas where they're not going to do the same weld every single time. I'm using stick right now. We also have MIG. Using the different types of welds, welding guns can then change. Okay, am I able to jump from one to another? So custom welds. Another face-to-face opportunity is create welding logs. Have students do visual inspection with the welds that they do. Have them be able to see that over and over and over again. Being able to do different welds in that world. So in this case here, I've gotten a few questions I see, and the questions that are coming to me here are asked about how do I do it in the remote world where I'm remote learning and they can't come in. So that's great timing because that's where we're going to start talking about right now. Now, in this case here, with that remote world, we might be able to have students come in, and one of the things and part of this that we're talking about is some students still can come in for certain times of the day, or maybe it's not full week. So we have this hybrid model. So in this case, you might have to take out certain computers in your classroom, as you can see from my X's here. So then you are not having a distance issue with this world here. All right. So you might have to have less computers. Now, the great thing about this is that all of our products can be washed down, wiped down, and easily able to be removed in that case. All right. So you can also be something where, in this case, we're going to talk about and go to remote learning here. All right. Let me remove my my drawings there. All right. So let's go to remote learning. Okay, here we go. And here's what I think a lot of you ask about. All right, is how does this help me with remote learning? Well, I just want to start with this idea of remote. All right. Remember the big themes that we're trying to get through. One of the things with remote learning that we're going to talk about is this idea of how do you get the big themes. So you may want to go and get everything that you've done in the past with your students. You might have to change that. Now, how do you change that? What's the important things here? In this case, remember the big themes, get to the important pieces. Now, what we would say some of those are is that learning of that technique. Have students be able to learn proper welding technique. In a remote learning, an example for you is not everyone may be able to have a welding simulator at home. So what can those students have at home? It might be that they can then create or have them find something that is like a MIG welding gun. All right. With that MIG welding gun, have them at their computer, have paper there, have them work with their paper on maybe cutting out a coupon, a T-joint, a lap joint, things of that nature, and just working in comfortable position and moving across. Having them move their hands and work on work angle, travel angle, all right? Looking at how close they should be, how far away. Now, in some cases, this might feel a little bit rudimentary or elementary, but again, it's like a lot of different learning opportunities. Think of professional athletes, all right? You look at the professional baseball player, they still use a training tee to be able to hit and make sure that they're doing it correctly, all right? They still work on different types of aspects, making sure that they're doing it correctly. So using something at home, having them be able to work on their work angle, their travel angle, their speed across, how fast they should be going. So in some cases here, going back to our world here, which you can also demonstrate to your students and talk to them, is I'm going to go back in. I'm going to show you another weld here. So in this world, on the bottom here, we have our weld here, all right? In this weld here, it tells what the speed is, 18 inches per minute. Travel angle should be 20 degrees, work angle 45, arc length 1/8 inch out. Now, if I leave this here, I can come in and I can see that I'm using an 1/8 inch welding plate here, all right? And so in this weld that I'm doing, all right, I can go back in and I can see that with this speed, with this WPS that I have, I should be able to have my speed at 18 inches per minute. Okay, so what you can do is have your students measure out 18 inches, put a timer on, and start doing their weld. And how close can they get to that 18 inches? Let's say this is 18 inches, all right? How close in 1 minute's time am I getting my speed down? Okay. That is something that a student can do without any type of other features that they may have at home, allowing you to be able to start working with students and saying, okay, get to those points in those places, okay? Another piece of the puzzle, engage through questions, all right? What are the questions that you want students to work on? One of the things with remote learning that we're working towards is it might be more of you working and showing them, okay, and asking the questions, what did I do right? What did I do wrong here? So if I come up here and I go to my weld, all right, you might actually do a weld here and have the students watch your weld, and you might be doing some things that you shouldn't be doing. All right, start welding like this. Start moving in different areas. Ask the questions. What did you see as you saw me do this weld? What did I do right? What did I do incorrectly? All right. Maybe it's having them actually come in and ask questions. What is acceptable here? What's wrong with this weld? You can take a picture of this. You can take a screenshot of this. You can pass it on to your students. You can help them to understand and ask the questions of, okay, here's the situation. What are you going to do in this case? All right. Another piece of it is just mindfulness of the whole student. As much as we are focusing on COVID and how we can help remote learning, sometimes it might even be where you take a day off and you're talking to the student and you're just interacting with them, asking about their career aspirations, asking them about what they're going to do in the welding world or what they'd like to do. Okay, mindfulness of the whole student. One of the things that happens and comes with all of our product is we have a full curriculum with this. Now, with this being said, we have a focused area of our curriculum on career exploration. This is a great place for you to work with your students, to have them interact remotely, go out and start looking, what kind of careers, what is the aspirations they have, where could they see themselves, what is their 5-year plan, what is their 1-year plan, what are they working on, and going that way. Open the floor for new experiences. This is that time, and I hear you that you are looking for more and more new opportunities, and how can you help? Open the floor for new experiences. One of the things that can be used, guideWELD is a product, as you can see here. This is the situation. This is what you get. You get the workstation here. It hooks up to a computer. It has a software piece to it. One of the things that we are seeing is being able to have students loan these out, bring them home, use them at their home, use it with a laptop, use it with this, have that student be able to use it for a week and return it. Send it out to another student, use it for a week and return it. Having them be able to work in that world one-on-one with it can open for new experiences, gives them that opportunity and be able to have that fun, which then goes into teach the fun, and then also elevate the individualized learning. What you were able to see me do here, going into this shop, even if they're remote, being able to have one of these and do demonstrations, being able to talk through, it gets them into a virtual shop. It is not maybe in the classroom, but it's a virtual world that they can then be used and use. The last one here, and we've kind of gone through this, is the use of demos. Making sure that you set up and you're allowing your students to be able to hear you, see you, and be able to do demos in that world. What we've been doing and what you've seen me do this whole time is exact replica of a demo. Now, in this case, I'm talking, you can do a chat question and answer. A lot of times you can open it up and have your students ask you questions. This would be that place where you present it on the screen, you show them in person, you do different types of welds, and you talk through and you demonstrate, what am I doing? How am I doing? Let's do a different type of weld. Is there some sort of weld that you think that I should be doing? And not only what am I doing wrong, what am I doing correct? Asking them the questions of different types of materials and what's the speed, the travel angle, what some of the issues could be, talking about defects. All these can help in the demo world, allowing you to be able to see and learn from this world. So moving on, and with our time left, learning how muscle memory, repetition, and assessment can help qualified welders. I've done an interview with Ken Webb. He is a welding inspector from Arizona, and want to show you and talk with him about how he's using it, the how, the why, the who is using it in this world. So let's listen to what he has to say.
We had about 60 to 70 kids taking welding through all 3 levels, and work. So I put my head down and focused on what would be best for the kids and what would draw kids to the program, and starting implementing those things, and building relationships with the kids, and finding, you know, tools like the VR units and, you know, any of those extra tech tools now are we've seen a substantial growth. This year we're looking at having over 400 kids taking welding here at Marana High School.
I also asked the question,
We had,
why are you using virtual reality welding simulation? So let's hear what he has to say about that.
luckily, I mean, honestly, welding is an attractive thing for kids because they get to play with fire and melt things and, you know, learn a trade. But the more technology and other tools that you can bring in that kids can learn from is always a good aspect. And definitely bringing in the virtual side of things has definitely helped the buy-in with some of the kids, especially with, you know, the kids these days, and they like technology and games and phones and all of that stuff. So it definitely has a draw factor as far as that. So if it's something that you can do, I would recommend. I mean, the more things you can bring in to teach the kids, the better it is for you.
So again, students like that technology, that new type of feedback, and they're getting it more and more in this virtual world.
Luckily,
So then the question is, how to use virtual simulation in your classroom? And let's see what we have to say. He has to say there.
we use those in the beginning levels, and I find a lot of kids can be pretty intimidated once they get out in the shop, seeing some of the heavy equipment and, you know, the just welding in general, sparks flying, and the danger factor. So starting them off on virtual, I've seen, kind of builds their confidence a little bit before they actually go out and try using, you know, the live equipment. And to them, it is kind of like playing a video game. So, you know, they get to come to welding and for a few weeks play a video game in the classroom. So they really enjoy that, and it definitely builds their confidence, like I said.
So some of the things that he talks about is ability to build confidence, get them engaged, learning, helping them understand. COVID's a very unique time. How can you then help with some of this? All right. You see some of the things like the lack of booth and being able to use that, bad habits, you need more time, some timid students. How do you help in those ways? Now, challenges that you have include that individualized learning, a whole new world with managing your classroom and the students, safety in the sense of COVID related, as well as within the classroom, and then also trying to align with standards. Now, how can this help? Well, one of the things that we think that really can help is getting that assessment, having students be able to see what they're doing or what you're doing, and then being able to understand the different things like work angle, travel angle, the plate distance or the arc length, the speed and the straightness, getting them to understand those different pieces. If you can get students to be able to understand that proper welding technique, when they do get back into the classroom, when they do get those opportunities to do live welding, they are going to be much better off. They're going to have a better knowledge base. They're going to understand what they do, and their muscle memory will be better because of it. So with this, using that simulation, being able to use that in that one-to-one ratio, remote learning, demo, or face-to-face can really be helpful for students to understand what they need to do and to gain knowledge in that welding world. Again, part of this that comes with this, and these are all free online available for you at our website. This welding curriculum here can be used right now if you have our virtual welding machine or not. All of this type of curriculum is helpful to you because it gives that remote access, getting them to understand things about the careers, types of welding, welding safety, equipment, welding defects, going through different types of destructive testing. All of that is available on our website for you because of COVID-19. So you can actually go there and be able to get that curriculum, which should also help you in that remote learning setting. So with that being said, what are some of these tools to help? We really want to bring hands-on learning. Now, it might be in your classroom, it might be in a remote setting in the classroom, but we think that this can help. Adding time and learning opportunities to your classroom, and then creating hopefully a student-centric, helpful aid for you in this time of COVID. So with that, thank you for your time. If there are questions, please put them in the chat. Let us answer these and help. So let's see here. Any of the questions here? So one of the things that is asked about is subject to, let's see, person welding class, can this solve distance learning problem? The big piece about this, again, that distance learning problem that's being asked here is it can't help all the distance learning problems, but there's a lot of things that can be helpful in this situation. Using it in that demo purpose, being able to demo it, being able to show it in that world. The other piece is our curriculum, being able to show that curriculum. And let me share the curriculum here with you by giving you, oops. There we go. Going to our website, let me follow up here and show you our curriculum that we have. all you need to do is come to our front web page here, scroll down, it says COVID-19 response. You click on the learn more, and when you click on that, down here, you go to resources and ideas, and we have guides and curriculum right here. You click on that, it will bring you to a page where all you need to do is put your information in, and then you get full access to all of our curriculum that we have. Again, showing this, all of the welding curriculum in that remote setting. So this is a product that can help in this COVID time, where it can help with the demonstrations, remote learning. If you can do in class or that hybrid model, it does help there. Is it a perfect solution? No, we don't have that, but it's helping you along the way with all these different pieces in that world. So with that said, thank you for your time. If you have a question about someone be contacting us to discuss cost to implement, we do have that available. We have salespeople here that can talk to you and walk you through implementation, what it would need in your classroom or your school. If you need help with grants, we have a funding center. We have different opportunities to help you as well. And we have salespeople for each region of the United States. So they can come talk to you and help you to make it and work with you for what's best for your school and for your area. So we do have that. With this presentation, we will be sending this presentation, links to that, and an opportunity. If you need more information, more help, you can get that. We can help you. You can call us direct, but we can also be reaching out through this presentation by email to share with you all those different features. With that, I say thank you very much for taking this time with us today. And I hope that this was helpful in some way, shape, or form, getting you what you need as you go forward. Thank you for your time.